Hi, everyone. Hope everybody's doing good. We're going to try to get everybody back on a little bit more on schedule. So we're going to go a little quick. Let me just start off with my name's Ed Carr. I'm from Comcast NBC Universal, Senior Director of Military Veteran Affairs for them. We're now shortening the name to Military Affairs because it means the same thing, basically. I've been with the company 7 years. Prior to that, I served active duty for 23 years in the United States Army. Basically left on a Wednesday, went to work on a Thursday for Comcast. Had a little bit different of a transition from the military for the simple fact that I started about a little over a year out because I had a great injury that had me sidelined and I had time to focus on me for a little bit. That's how I did my transition. I was in line about 3 times today to make a comment or say something, and I was the guy that was there when they said no more questions, and so I just was kind of like standing in the back of the room looking weird. So I have the mic now, so I'm gonna make a few comments real quick, and then I promise we're gonna get on schedule. Earlier in the day, Tommy from Verizon said that we're not competitors. We collaborate on this. He's absolutely correct. However, what we're about to discuss here, it's starting to be a little competitive out there in the veteran space, and I'll get back to that in a few minutes. And then also, the gentleman over here asked about tools that are out there to help with our employees learn about veteran employment and different policies out there. Veterans at Work certificate program. It's done by SHRM. It's free. You just go on the SHRM website, just type veterans into the search. It'll pop up. If you have HR professionals, it's actually worth continuing education credits for them. I can tell you that right now it's in the 2.0 version. Probably next year there'll be a 3.0 version coming out of the program because now we're adding in a lot of more ESGR components to it. So that's in the process right now, being worked right now. And finally, the last part for that is also make sure you utilize this network. I have a program that we overlooked, the corporate fellowship program for Comcast NBCU, and it's in its evolution of going from the infancy to the next stage of how we manage the program. Well, I was sitting at a conference a few months back, sitting next to Oli, from USAA, as they were doing their, the resume release came out, and I saw how they managed their program. Last week I had Oli come on a call with my talent teams to talk to them about how USAA does it, because there's a lot of good things that they're doing at USAA that I saw we could probably mimic at Comcast. So make sure you utilize the people that you meet in this room. It goes beyond just coming to these conferences and talking to each other here. If you have something that you're working on at your company, reach out immediately. I mean, I'm calling Tommy next because there's a lot of things that they do for their mentorship program for when they take out for their candidate experience with Verizon that, I'm going to, latch on to that. So really utilize this group, this community that you're part of, because, it goes beyond these once a year meetings. All right. So with that, let me set up the discussion. So basically, as you've heard today, there's a lot of great things out there in military hiring and military spouse hiring. We are making a difference in the numbers. 7 years ago when I started this job, it was a much different landscape. We were coming up with great new ideas on how to attract military talent. But as you heard today, and I'm going to correct the DOL, sorry. But the numbers as of March are 2.4%. It's 2.4% as of March 2023, and non-veterans is 3.5% unemployment rate. So the numbers are dropping, right? That's what's making this more competitive now, because it's not a secret anymore to any of us in the room that, there's a business case for hiring people from the military community, right? And our companies have caught on to the fact that there is a business case to hire people from military company or military community. So in this discussion, this great panel that we have here are going to talk about ways that, now that how do their companies market and brand to attract military talent, not only attract it, but retain it. So I'm going to go ahead and let the panel introduce themselves, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to start with Blair.
Hi, I'm Blair Chicky-Chop. I work with Select Medical. I'm a senior recruiter there. My day job is case management recruitment, if there's any social workers or nurses, RTs out there. But my side hustle is the military veteran and spouse outreach and hiring there.
Tony?
Yep.
Sorry.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tony Gilbert. I'm the Senior Manager of Diversity and Military Recruitment for Raytheon Missiles and Defense. Retired Army. Excited to be here. Thank you.
We'll go to Patrick next.
Patrick Sense. I work for General Dynamics Bath Iron Works up in the state of Maine. So it's up here for those of you that are thinking about it right now. But we build the Arleigh Burke destroyer for the Navy. It's our one and only customer.
And Jim.
I'm Jim Lorraine. I'm the president and CEO of America's Warrior Partnership. We're focused not necessarily on recruitment, but we work with companies to help increase their retention by serving the veterans within the companies and connecting them to services that improve their quality of life.
Awesome. I'm gonna let you know they screwed me up by moving the lectern from over there to here. I was prepared all morning for that, so I'm kind of discombobulated. Okay. Thank you for all being here. Sorry. So military friendly to military ready. Okay. Many companies, including yours, have evolved from a military friendly to a military ready culture. What are some examples that your organization has done? And then how do you message about it externally? And I'll start with Blair.
So this question for my company is at the beginning. We're in more of our infancy program of getting upgraded to the military ready from the military friendly. We are still working on our website. We do have some awards mentioned, things like that, but more of a branding aspect is coming. What we did start with was, several years ago, I sat in a conference and learned about Hilton and their initiative for hiring veterans. And they're worldwide. We're nationwide with, over 55,000 employees in 45 states. So I thought if they could do something like that, maybe we could put a bigger focus on it for military spouses to be able to transfer in between, San Diego and Norfolk when they get moved. Or anywhere in the country, Colorado Springs, and get to keep their seniority, their benefits, move with their spouse when they PCS. So I thought, if we're nationwide, why can't we do this? So I started talking and having presentations with my CEOs at my hospitals and my HRs at my hospitals. We have about 105 long-term acute care hospitals or critical illness recovery hospitals and about 30 inpatient rehabilitation hospitals, along with outpatient physical therapy centers, Concentra urgent care. So nationwide coverage, this is a demographic that we're losing out on and that could really benefit working with us. So I heard it before, somebody said, spouses are afraid to say they're a male spouse because they're gonna move every 2 to 3 years. But what if you can move with us? What if our HRs are aware of this? What if my recruitment team understands your resume and that it's not that you're jumpy, but that you have to move every couple of years, and why not move with us? So we started just educating around resumes and around what military, veterans, spouse, even reserve, what does that mean? They're gonna get deployed. Why would we hire that person? That's a question that you shouldn't even ask yourself. That person is doing a service to their country. A lot of us here have gotten called out for that. Let's give it, time to set in and use their skills. And when they do have to go, we'll figure it out. So I think just education is the base point. Also mentorship programs like American Corporate Partners and being a part of that. That's how I found out about 4Block, SkillBridge, things like that, because my proteges told me about them. I didn't have them when I got out of the Army Reserve. That didn't exist in 2008, a lot of that. So I had an easy transition being part in, part out, but it's interesting to see what they're coming out with and building a battle buddy team for them when they come to your, different industry like you have in the military. My battle buddy's sitting right there from Iraq. Luckily we get to do a lot of things together. If you can put that in your company, I think that is helpful to them as well to assimilate a little bit better.
All right, Tony, I see you keep raising the mic. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So, I think that the best way to go from military friendly to military ready, and I'll give you an example. Raytheon Technologies, one of the largest defense contractors in the world, was not even rated with the U.S. Vets Index 2 years ago. And now we're 2 years later, 5-star rated. So how do we do that? I think it really started with education. And then once the senior leadership became educated, we realized we need military liaisons or military leaders across the enterprise. And it started with me, and I've got my counterparts from our other business units. We're 180,000 size company. We have military program managers each of our business units. And I think that's how you start becoming military ready. And then really the most important thing is making sure that those military leaders across the enterprise, or we call the enterprise, are partnering very closely, because a lot of times we operate like 4 different companies inside of Raytheon based on our business units. And one of the most important things is for those military program leaders to partner across those business lines. So I think step one is education, and then if you don't have budget to hire dedicated program managers for military, I think someone spoke earlier, if you have a recruiter that was a prior service military, or someone that can really take over that's where it all starts, is people start to see that value, and they're like, wow, he's doing great, so let's move him into a program manager role, do military. And then before you know it, this next business unit's catching on, and then it becomes really embedded, ingrained in the culture of the company.
Yeah, I'm an advocate for, Army recruiters can do just about anything. So, I might be biased. I don't know. Patrick, do you want to chime in on this one?
Yeah, in case you didn't know, there's 4 former Army recruiters sitting up here. So, but just kind of to
Go
add
Air Force.
to what Tony to add to what Tony said, marketing starts kind of internally. Well, it did for me. Even though we're a defense contractor, we build the Arleigh Burke destroyer for the Navy. A lot of my managers were really going after shipbuilding specific experience. So I had to force myself in. I didn't force myself. I walked into every office I possibly could and started explaining what these programs were that our veterans have on the way out, like low risk with SkillBridge. Explaining to them what the programs were, what the skill sets were looking like, how much the benefits were being taken advantage of in the military. Like PMPs, Lean Six Sigma is all over the place right now in transitioning veterans. So being able to get out and show and kind of get rid of some of those stereotypes that we've all battled through in the past, but having those internal conversations while at the same time, like Maine's a very unique state. Over 10% of the population in the state of Maine is veteran. Veteran plates everywhere. I thought it was going to be cool and have my own veteran plate, like one of the 10. No, they're everywhere. And so with that being said, like the previous panel had stated, your best resource are the veterans that you already have within your organization. So that's one of the first things I started doing, was trying to identify who in the veteran community we didn't have a VRG when I got there. No veteran resource group whatsoever at a defense contractor. It made no sense to me. The policy was approved last week. We're moving forward with that now. And it's going to be manned by, or headed by a 30-year sergeant major that came through our SkillBridge program. So he, during the SkillBridge program, networked internally himself, trying to spread the word like, I'm a SkillBridge product. And they were fighting over him because everybody wanted to hire him once he went through each of the individual departments. So having those advocates, which by the way, I've heard that word a lot today. I brought that up last year on a panel. All we got to do is advocate for these veterans, not recruit. Advocate internally and externally. Use the VSOs that you have within your state to help you market. But we'll leave it at that.
So Patrick, I'm going to stick with you on this one. With competition for military talent being so high as it is today, and it's becoming, what programs or policies does your company have that not only attracts this talent, but once you get it, you retain it? So in SkillBridge, we had that stamp. We did the MOU, but we had no one that was managing the program 3 years ago. Averaging 2 SkillBridge candidates a year in an organization of just over 7,000 was not a good number. I can tell you that in the last 2 years, we're up over 26 just in the last 2 years. And I've got 7 that were accepted in the last 2 weeks. So, and out of everyone that received a job offer at the end of that SkillBridge, we are at 100% still on retention with those individuals. And really, I would say it starts with connecting them with mentors within the company. They've all got a mentor. Some of them have self-identified their own. But beyond that, as far as like the National Guard individuals that we recruit, I use ESGR a lot. Actually have a meeting with my president and our ESGR rep tomorrow to get a new statement of support. But really, I just continue to push, get out of the fishbowl. I call my office the fishbowl, but make yourself available. Answer the questions.
I like how you asked me that question while I'm sitting next to Raytheon.
You love that?
But
I have planned it the way. So Jim, America Warriors Partnership, tell us how, they work with organizations on these types of policies and programs.
Yeah, thanks. So I'm not a recruiter, I'm a retainer. The way that we started, we work at community levels. That's what our bread and butter has been. We're in 9 communities throughout the United States. And I was asked to come to New York City a few years ago and speak to a Fortune 100 company that had 58 new recruits that had come out of the military. No one had less than a bachelor's degree. And my job was to tell them about the resources that were available. And I said, first slide was Jim Lorraine, my organization. Second slide was my cell phone number. I said, listen, there are so many different, you could face so many different things with 58 people, and there's 40,000, 3,000, 5,000, whatever you want to call it, different opportunities to meet your needs. I can't tell you what you need. There's a list isn't long enough. The best thing to do is to just text me. I thought out of this group, with their education level, that I would get maybe 5 or 6 texts. I had 39 individual texts, 39. Everything from, I'm really struggling with post-traumatic stress and I don't know where to go and I can't tell my employer or else I'll be out of a job. And 2, in the middle was, my last GI Bill payment didn't get to the university, so they won't give me my diploma. 2, I'd like to volunteer, but I don't know of a nonprofit or a place to volunteer where it's worth my time and energy and I can get the return and purpose that we have. I addressed all 39 of them. We took care of them. The company became one of our partners, and I walked away. So I left that meeting and I went to a JP Morgan Chase Veteran Job Mission meeting, and I listened to everybody tell me about how the retention rate was so low. I said that we can do better than this. And so what we did was we created the Corporate Veteran Initiative. And what the Corporate Veteran Initiative does is works with the companies and works with the ERGs to go beyond what you can do. Right? The ERGs, great. You build a relationship. You understand. I would tell you that most of your vets aren't telling you what's going on in their life and aren't leveraging what they've earned. And so what my organization does is we're experts on veterans issues. So you have an employee assistance program. I can tell you they don't know squat about the VA. But what we do is we augment that by knowing how to navigate the VA, how to navigate local systems, how to understand what's available locally, and then our goal is then to increase their retention, to have them look at USAA and say, hey, USAA, you have my back, you took care of me, we're part of the ERG, and we're moving forward. And then what we do is we market USAA and say, hey, this is the place to go. This is a place to go because not only do they want to hire you, but they give a shit and they're going to have your back when you need something. And again, needing something isn't extreme. One of our partners yesterday contacted us and said, I've got a veteran who's in my workforce who just became homeless. Today they're housed. And not only are they housed, but they're connected to other services that are going to improve their quality of life and help them move forward while staying in the workforce and contributing to the company. So for us, as America's Warrior Partnership, we're not here to replace ERGs because we can never replace the relationship you have with your employees. We're there to give you some backup. Anyways, so I'm like, which one of these is not like the other one? The Sesame Street thing? That would be me. I'm the one with the tie.
Great. Man. Jeez, I don't even know where to go with that.
Air Force guys know how to dress.
I know. You got time to dress nice. It's easy when you're not getting dirty. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. Just kidding. Okay. So I'm going to go to Tony with this one. So as we have now changed to a hybrid kind of, some people are virtual, some people are in person, this post-COVID world that the workplace or the workforce has become, how has your hiring strategies changed, if they have, and how are you now sourcing military talent?
Yeah, so as we all know, during COVID, we all went scrambling virtual events very quickly, and it was very painful for a while. So really, at this point in time, our competitors are getting back there out in person. So we're really a fine line between the in-person events, the virtual events is a way, and kind of a combination of both. We'll do an in-person event with a virtual piece to it at the same time. So that's one way. Of course, social media is a huge avenue for us for finding military talent. Of course, we all know LinkedIn is a gold mine of military talent. So really focusing on that. We do a lot of company-sponsored Raytheon events where we put on our own hiring events, informational sessions. We do a monthly military chat on Brazen where we invite, it's usually can be 100 to 200 military members join our chats every month. We have all our military liaisons, recruiters across the company that are veterans, military spouses, jump on. We give a quick overview of the company. We talk to the candidates, and we try to get them into our veteran pipeline and kind of help them get into the company. So it's really a combination of all things right now. And we've learned we can do all very well. At first virtual was very painful for everyone, and now we can do this. So, we really do all of the above. So,
Yeah, we've been getting a lot more into virtual hiring events as well. I'm going to open it up to the whole panel on that question.
Yeah, I'll speak to the virtual. When I started working with the Recruit Military and going to the career fairs about 2018 or 2019 is when I started going to those. And then, of course, it changed to all virtual. I realized you can reach a lot more people. I'm not going to Camp Lejeune. I'm not going to San Diego. I'm not going to Phoenix, and just meeting the people that are probably staying there because that's their last duty station. I'm meeting the whole country, and they can message me and ask me about our nursing positions or our cook positions or our, environmental services positions or HR positions all over the country. So I got to meet a much wider net of candidates. And so every year I still do one of the virtual nationwide events along with the in-person because you reach so many more people. And when we started doing virtual as well, we usually had everybody was Monday through Friday at the corporate office for the most part, and learned, okay, we can branch out. We can have recruiters that sit further away. And my first skill bridge was actually my ACP protege, Pedro, and he lived in Philly. So he came up, worked with us for a week to get onboarded, orientation, things like that with us. And then he could work a couple of days from home and a couple of days with me at the office. If it wouldn't have been for that, I don't know that we would have looked at him for a skill bridge candidate, at that time, because before we thought you should sit in the office every day. So that opened it up to an even bigger pool of skill bridge candidates as well. So I think the hybrid capacity has really helped us out after it, got figured out.
Let's see it.
So we actually at Bath Iron Works never went to any sort of remote option because we're a production facility. We're constantly building. We're behind. I'll just admit it. So it is what it is, right? That's why we need leaders from SkillBridge. But anyway, we never even saw a break. Even in the height of COVID, everybody in the trades was still showing up on a daily basis. The only thing that we really did to adapt to that was we hired people to do the whole screening process at our gates. We couldn't shut anything down. Now, just recently in the past, I don't know, half a year to a year, certain parts of our salaried side and some of our designers have been given the option to work from home, but it's still controlled. So we've never really touched that space, to be honest with you.
Okay. All right. So what I'd like to do, since we are going to shorten this panel a little bit to get back on schedule for today, so to allow time for a couple questions and from the audience, I'm going to start with Jim, and we're going to go right down the line, and whatever walk away comment do you want everybody here to walk away with today?
Yeah, if you're not part or affiliated with America's Warrior Partnership Corporate Veteran Initiative, come see me. We want to work with you. Our mission as America's Warrior Partnership is to serve the veterans of the United States. 18.2 million are in the United States. VA serves about 9 million. I think it should be closer to 18.2 million. Where we find our gap in serving veterans are those that are in the workforce because they're too busy, they're too focused, they've got too much going on in their life to focus on themselves. And by helping you serve your veterans within the workforce, helps us serve veterans. So if you're interested in being part of America's Warrior Partnership and our coalition for serving veterans within the workforce, just come see me afterwards, and I'd love to get you connected. Thanks.
I'll say somebody has to start it at your company. So if you're sitting here, you're starting something. If this is your first attending, of a conference like this, if this is the first time you're going to go back to your, CEOs, founders, presidents to talk about it and to share the value that can be brought, somebody has to start this cause and recognize the value that military, active, reserve, guard, mil spouses can all bring to the table. It starts with one person. So I just say, just get it started and it'll grow from there.
Yeah, I like to say if the first thing you have to really do as a company is put your money where your mouth is. You can have military liaisons, you can have, great website, but if you're not showing what you're actually doing for real to these veterans and military spouses, as I talk to people, I tell them, I'm just as proud to wear my Raytheon Technology shirt as my Army uniform for 20 years. And that rings deep with veterans. Our values align, our culture aligns, and that's what draws people to your company. And you can't just have a team of 5 or 6 people, like we do inside of Raytheon. We have our ERG. I send a list to our veteran ERG every month of all of our veteran hires, and they reach out personally to every one of those. We've created internal veteran hiring guides that we give to veterans and spouses as they join the company with internal resources. If you have PTSD or any kind of help you need, that's there for you. And really that allyship and partnership inside of your company is really important. Gary and Marco and I, we have hundreds of partners across the company that we reach out to that we need help mentoring or filling requisitions. So it can't be done by a few people. You need to really reach out and get those allies and partners across the business and just show these veterans and military spouses that your company really wants them there, and our culture and our values really align well with what that they have, and you'll be successful.
Great points by all 3 of you. I'll simply say if you're on the fence about SkillBridge or you don't know how to take on that task, start. Don't wait. It takes a long time to get approved. I promise you, if you reach out to me, I'll talk you through how we went about doing it in my business unit. Not because I want you to take SkillBridge from me. It's because I want more SkillBridge to come to all of us. So feel free to reach out. It takes one. I promise you, if you get pushback from your managers, find the one that will accept one. Don't make them fly blind, as in going into your system, finding a job that they think they're qualified for. I use a placement strategy. All right. I identified the veterans that were in management positions and I went and had to talk with them. It takes one. And then when all the other managers watch what that individual does, they're going to come talk to you to find the next one. Again, veterans don't have a job description. They're going to hit the ground and they're going to perform. And yeah, that's about all I got.
Awesome. Do we have any questions from the audience? Going once, going twice, gone. All right. Thank you for your insights to the panel. Thank you for your attention.